Well, a lot of us have been talking about this affirmative action ruling out of the Supreme Court. And what's been coming out, because a lot of us never really paid attention to what happens at a lot of colleges, when it comes to people who are in the black category, it's starting to find out that the majority of the students in these Ivy League universities are not people who come from the soil of America, who are not descendants of slaves. They are people who are international students or immigrants. Well, you have a African sister here, the Nigerian in particular. She's going to talk about this and reference this. Let's go ahead and review it.
Or realize that so much of the black enrollees in colleges and universities are African. Not African American, African. Their parents immigrated to the States from Africa. Or they are international students who presently reside in Africa and come to the States for university. I'm one of those people. I'm the child of immigrants. I hold dual citizenship in America and Nigeria. Why is this important? Because aside from the fact that both African and African American students are black, there really aren't that many socioeconomic similarities between the two groups. Our average economic standing between the two groups are different. The average test scores and high school GPAs between the two groups are different. Black African students are more likely to have come from a two-parent household. Black African students are more likely to have parents who have obtained some form of higher education degree. I grew up in a town with a lot of Indian and Arab immigrants. My college application is more comparable to the Indian, South Asian, and Arab students that I lived near than the black students who lived a few towns over. Why do I say all this? Because at a college like mine, where there's only a couple hundred black people on campus at any given time, a situation that is true across many prestigious universities in America, it is disingenuous to act as if, quote unquote, underperforming black students are somehow robbing other students of opportunities of attending these prestigious universities. If out of the 200 black students at a top university, only 75 of them are descendants of slavery, that is not nearly enough people to even imply that their acceptances to these schools hinder the acceptances of other students. Someone needs to do a study on this if they haven't done it already, but go to any top 20 university, and out of the black students, if you ranked them 1 through whatever based on their incoming stats, the top 10-20% of them are going to be African for XYZ reason that I'm not getting into. Once you get into the zone of questioning whether the GPAs and SAT scores of these black students should have earned them a spot in this school, you don't have enough people left to make a genuine argument. Because assuming all students who are descendants of slavery got kicked out today and replaced with more deserving students, you've opened up maybe 50 spots at a school. That is the most frustrating part about this whole affirmative action shit.
This is why delineation has been actually a good thing. And with the Supreme Court decision, definitely setting us apart and saying, okay, yes, you're the freedmen or you're the descendants of slaves, then that's good, because all these programs are for the freedmen or for the descendants of slaves. That's what these programs are for. These programs were not for foreigners. Listen, I love my cousins from abroad. I really do. But these programs were not for no one else but the descendants of slaves, because we was in slavery and we needed help after slavery to get up where we need to be. Now, you look at the time, they had all these affirmative action programs, which was benefiting everybody else except the descendants of slaves. So now, since they took that away, now I want to see how people move. Because one thing I can tell you from traveling to the African continent, they will call you a foreigner. And they prioritize their citizens over foreigners. I can't go to no African nation and they prioritize me more than a citizen unless I become a citizen of that nation. But in America, they prioritize the immigrant over the citizen or the foreigner. Because they don't even call you an immigrant over there, they call you a foreigner. So they prioritize the foreigner here in America. They want to bring in the best of, let's say, Nigeria or the best of Senegal, etc., and put them in good schools here. This will contribute to the brain drain, right? And then when they don't their education, a lot of times either they send them back or they keep them here to get government jobs or whatever they want them to do, and then they bring their families, etc. Because when the girl was talking about why Nigerians, let's say in particular, score so much higher, well, I said this on my podcast, and I'm going to reiterate that here. If you take the best of anywhere and put them in a society, a big class of them, yeah, they're going to do better than the most. Like I said in the podcast, give me 10,000 Black American families, descendants of slaves, families. The people who are very smart, educated, got businesses, doing very well, and take those 10,000 Black American families and transport them to Nigeria. I promise you, those Black American families will do very well versus the average everyday Nigerian. They would excel in business. They will make more money. They would do very, very well. And then if you keep importing the best of Black America, let's say to Nigeria, then you get enough of us over there, and people say, well, how come the Black Americans score so much higher on tests? And how come the Black Americans that come over here, they do so much better at business? They make more money. They do this, they do that. And then you look into it and you say, wait a minute, you're importing the best of Black America. You're not importing the average everyday person. So when they talk about Nigerians, they're not importing the brother or sister that's selling fruit on the side of the road all day. They're not importing the brother and sister who's cleaning houses, you understand? Or driving a bus or whatever. They're importing the best of Nigeria, the best of Ghana, the best of Senegal. That's what they're doing. So, and then they make sure to import the best and give them spots here, even as foreigners, over the descendants of slaves who is American citizens. You understand what I'm saying? So it's been a game, but now, since affirmative action is gone, now I want to see what the foreigners of all communities, I want to see what they're going to do. I want to see it because there's no more affirmative action to give you that to you no more. You're going to have to compete on what they say, quote unquote, merit. And we know white supremacy is not built on merit. It's built on race. They're going to tell you merit, but it's not going to be merit for them. This is why they're going to fight that situation about the legacy admissions. Oh, they're going to fight that. You better believe they're going to fight that tooth and nail. But notice the Supreme Court didn't get rid of that because, hey, that's done on race, because they say 70% is white. It's not equal. So let's see what happens with that. But let me know what y'all think with our sister from the African continent say about these admissions. Trust me, it's going to hurt all of them. And you know what? That's actually a good thing. Why it's a good thing? Because now you get to see how people really compete. Because when foreigners came over here, they didn't have to fight anything because all the work was already done.